Hey, everybody. It's your boy, GM Ashley, live from the fort. That is Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Florida, for those of you who don't know. And if you don't know, we have a very special guest right here in the stream. It's none other than one of the greatest players in the world right now. He is one of the persons that everybody loves so much because he's such a humble guy, such a good guy, and he's agreed to be on the stream. None other, chat. Give him some love. It is Grandmaster Wesley So. Wesley, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Maurice. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, here on Twitch. I'm very grateful that Maurice actually invited me to join this show and join this stream. So I'm very grateful to be here, and yeah, we'll have a good time. Thanks to everyone who's joining. I got my cat right here, got my water, my coffee, ready to go.
Wow, great. Thank you so much, Peanut BJ, already getting the party started right. Thank you, folks, for being here. And Wesley, I got to tell you, when I asked you, I get like goosebumps when I ask people and they say, yeah, sure, Maurice, we'll come on your stream. I had Neil deGrasse Tyson on. I had Fabi on for a little bit. But to have you on for this extended time that you agreed to this, I am ever so grateful. So thank you. Our chat's already psyched. They're showing you a lot of love, saying a big fan, Pinoy Pride as well. Everybody loves you, Wesley. So I think we're going to have a real good show today. Wesley, let's get right into it. And we'll take your questions, chat. We'll take your questions and the like as well as we keep it going. But let me ask you, Wesley, let's go back. Let's go way back, because I think a lot of people know you as the gangster, like, who kills people at chess, who's currently leading the tour at the moment. But I don't think a lot of people know you from the early days, your chess early days. When did you first get into chess? What made you first fall in love with this game?
Yeah, I first learned chess when I was 7, and as usual with all the chess players, including you, I guess everybody, we all enjoy the game when we're young. We all enjoy the game in our childhood. And hi, Mishikov, again. Thanks for helping host the stream. Hi to the chat. And everyone starts young. They just fall in love with the game, the build of the game. I think almost every athlete they get their love for the game at a young age. So I learned chess when I was 7, and immediately there's just something in the game that captivated me. I'm the kind of person who likes math much more than words, or mathematical equations more than relationships, for example, just easier for me. So there's just something in the game. When I was young, I suffered some terrible losses and I almost retired permanently. But somehow I always kept coming back to the game.
You almost retired? That sounds scary. That sounds scary to think you almost retired. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, when I was, I think when I was 8 years old, or 8 years old, I first played in the Philippine World Youth or Philippine Local Youth Chess Championship under 10, and that was my first big local tournament. And I suffered some heavy losses. I think I finished in barely number 10. My father couldn't sleep because I lost I lost a very crucial game. I mean, if I won that game, I would have chances to win the event. But I lost that game. He couldn't sleep for a week. And that's when I decided that I needed a break from chess. But, chess is very popular in the Philippines. It's played almost in every street corner. And somehow when I see a chessboard, I just feels like I gotta play the game. And even right now, I still really love the game. And I think that's one passion that we share is our love for the game. So I know great players like Gary, Vasily Ivanchuk, they have this immense passion for a game, and I have the same.
Who taught you? Was it your dad who taught you?
Yeah, my biological father, he bought a mini chessboard.
When you were when you were 7, you said?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, he bought it earlier, but he only taught me chess when I was 7.
And what made you think I want to play in a chess tournament? Like, there are a lot of people who are playing, but to go next from I'm just learning the game and then playing a tournament. That's a big jump.
No, because I beat already my family members. He thought me and my sister. So I started beating my sister, and she has like no love for the game. No. So I remember her first move was H4, and then Rook H3, always activating the Rook, or A4 and Rook A3. But I think I beat her twice, and she never wanted to play chess anymore.
So you just ruined her life as a chess player. Like that was that.
Yeah, somehow they always say there's only one chess player in the family.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's very true. So then, all right. So you had this big loss, big falling off, and then what happened? Like what made you suddenly say, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm good. I'm winning. I'm winning events."
Yeah, well, my father, biological father, also plays some chess. I mean, just never played tournament, but he knows how to move the pieces, and so he was beating me at first, and I was really determined to beat him. So that's why there's a book, How to Beat Your Dad in Chess. I think that's every child's dream. So I started beating him, and then finally had to look for tougher competition. So we went around the neighborhood, just carrying a large wooden chess set and challenging anyone who wants to play. So
Oh,
we do
what?
basketball courts.
Sorry to interrupt you. What city is this in the Philippines?
This is Cavite,
Okay.
Philippines. So
Hmm.
specifically Bacoor. I grew up there.
Okay.
Bacoor, Cavite. It's what is it? It's just a small fishing province, fishing village. Has very few people. Maybe at that point we only 400,000 people in Bacoor. But it's Philippines is quite a small country, so we're and yeah, that's how I started. And actually, my biological father, he had the sense to take me to a chess school. So I went to a chess school. That's how I started.
A chess school.
A chess school. We have this. I think we still have this. Milo. It's called Milo Chess School. That's my very first chess
So hold
school.
on. You're in a fishing village. You're in a fishing village, a small fishing village in
Yeah,
the
Bacoor.
Philippines, and there's a chess school. We could have like big cities in the United States, and there's no chess school. Like that sounds wild. Like that's the kind of love for chess that was in the Philippines at the time.
Yeah, I don't think that chess school was exactly in Bacoor, but it's nearby. So it's still around. It's called Milo Checkmate. They have a Facebook actually. It's called Milo Checkmate Chess Clinic and Sports Academy.
Amazing, amazing. I know folks are saying they're kind of hearing you less than they're hearing me, so I'm trying to make sure the
Oh, okay.
audio is
I
little bit better.
actually I think the problem is that my microphone is on automatically adjust, so I can uncheck that.
Yeah, we need you. When I talk, I'm loud, so we don't need that. We need it to be loud as possible, Wesley. You're competing against a
Oh, loud as possible.
loud Jamaican.
Yeah,
So
this is the same microphone I use for my chessable course.
that sounded a lot better. What I just heard right there sounded a lot better. Now I'm getting much more
Much
noise from you.
better.
That was bigger. Whatever you did, bringing it closer or whatever you need to do,
Oh,
make it happen. You
I
want to.
actually it was Zoom's fault because on the audio settings there's a checkbox where you can say automatically adjust microphone volume.
Hmm.
So I just unchecked that.
Okay, good. We'll blame Zoom. All right.
Okay,
So everybody's saying it's much better now. That's fantastic. All right. Now,
great.
so you're at a chess school. What are you learning? Because I know there are folks out there who think
Micro chess.
that they're supposed to be studying openings over and over. They want the latest opening lines. They're asking questions about this opening variation, that opening variation. What did you learn early on? What were you learning at chess school, and what made it fun for you to be studying chess?
Well, I think the first thing that people make mistakes, that's why they hard for them to improve, is that they rely so much on memorization. So they rely. I think these days we live in an internet era, but working with an engine too much will not necessarily help you one bit improve your game. So at that stage in my life, I mean, I didn't have a laptop until I was 11 years old or 12 years old. So I think it's the same with Magnus. I mean, we study, in order to improve in chess, you need to study the basics first. You need to learn the basics. So in that chess school, in fact, when I first entered the chess school, they have a test because there are levels on the chess school. So there's level 1, level 30. I think level 30 is the highest. And I think I started level 2 because they tested me how to mate with a king and rook.
Okay.
Against king. And I passed that.
Yeah, I figured you passed that pretty easily if you're beating your dad already.
And then they gave me a mate in 3, and I failed that one. I failed a mate in 3, so I think I ended up level 2.
Okay. And then how fast did you progress up the levels?
I don't think it's how fast, because each level, in order to pass it, takes 1 month or 2 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then at the end of the level, there's a chess tournament that you play against other students or other players, and if you win that, again, I think you get a few levels.
And
But sorry?
Did you start crushing people? Were you like the dominant player early on?
I think in TD events, I was dominating. In players who are my same age, under 12, under 14. I think under 14, I was pretty much the feared player on the block. But I was playing adults too, and it was difficult for me to beat them in the beginning.
We didn't finish with the idea of what you should be studying. So people want to know, what should they be studying? Like, what if they're just starting out the way you were starting out at those lower levels, what should they be getting into? What should they be improving? Tell us exactly, because the stream wants to know. They don't want to waste their time doing the wrong things. They want to do the right things.
There are many things, but one thing is that one thing I did when I was young, I analyzed a lot of Grandmaster games or master level games. So I'd have a collection of games in a book, let's say the Olympiad game collection or the Informator or Interzonal, all those game collection. And I'd study them one by one. So all those international master games, Grandmaster games. And that's not the only way to train, but personally for me, I find it very useful. I used to work with my neighbors on this actually. We'd cut a cardboard and we'd cover the moves, and then we'd make some moves on the board, and then we'd try to guess the next move.
Excellent. Excellent. I mean, that's exactly what I tell the stream all the time. It's exactly what I tell the stream, that the best way is to go over Grandmaster games, go over the classics, go over well-annotated games that you're seeing the moves explained, but make sure you go over entire games. When people are begging me to go over some random Traxler variation that I haven't even heard of in the opening, and I say, go over games. What are you doing? Go over games. Full games so you can see how to manage games. Thank you very much for affirming that.
Yeah, but also if you have the game collection, don't just read through the book. You also need to set up the position on the board and try to guess the next move. Try to think for yourself, because I think that's the only way you improve in chess, if you use your brain and try to think. Because once you know the answer, people would be like, oh yeah, that move is so easy to find. I would find that. But if they don't know the next move, then it's like...
We see that when people are following your games, let's say online, when you're playing against the top players in the world, and fellow top players, and the engine says this move, and then when you guys don't play the engine move, they're like, how come they don't see that move? It looks so easy.
Yeah, then they always go, even I would find that easily.
Right. And of course, if they were sitting there, it would never even occur to them to play such a move. But it's like fool's gold when you see the move and it makes sense after the fact, but it doesn't make sense or doesn't even occur to you before.
Yeah, and also I think if you're trying to improve as a chess player, you really need to study chess books, classic chess books. I think my very first book was called Traps and Saps by Bruce Pandolfi. That book, Traps and Saps. I read that book like 5 times from cover to cover. That's my very first. You got all the E4
That is hilarious. You're just telling us now about going over Grandmaster games, and you're saying your favorite book was Traps and Zaps, which is like this just straight opening book trap.
That's my very first book.
That
And
is fun.
actually, when I was young, maybe from between 8 to 12, I used to read this Pandolfini books. I mean, he's still in New York. So,
Yes, he is. He's a good friend of mine.
yeah. So I think for starting players, his books are pretty neat.
Yeah, the basics. He goes over all the basic stuff that you should know. Bruce Pandolfini. He was for those of you who don't know about Bruce Pandolfini, National Master. He was back in the Shelby Lyman days when Bobby Fischer. We're talking 1972 when Bobby Fischer was a phenom, storming the chess world and going all the way to the World Championship title. He was one of the helpers for Shelby Lyman, who popularized chess in the United States back in 1972. Then there was a big chess boom, and then Pandolfini was next known for being the coach of Josh Waitzkin in the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, and he was played by Ben Kingsley in that movie. And now, most recently, Bruce Pandolfini is known for being one of the consultants on the Queen's Gambit. And he and Gary Kasparov were consultants, and he actually appeared in Queen's Gambit in one of the scenes when she goes to a tournament. He did appear in the Queen's Gambit. By the way, did you see the Queen's Gambit?
I did. I'm waiting for season 2. Can't wait.
So you enjoyed it as well?
Yeah, I did, personally did. I mean, I understood that it's quite impossible if you're a 21-year-old to achieve what she did, but I like the film.
Yeah, this definitely a great series and based on the book as well. Wesley, we've gotten, I'm glad you said that about learning and making sure you go over Grandmaster games. Make sure you go over the classic games. Make sure you go try to think for yourself and not just play bullet all day online or even
that doesn't help.
Not the way, folks. Not the way. You're hearing it from Grandmaster Wesley So himself here on the stream. And everybody, I've already seen questions here, Wesley, like, so what openings do you like? It's like, I'm not having you answer that question. We just said it. It's not about the openings, folks. It's about going over complete games and learning from that.
I realized also one mistake many players make is that they rely too much on the engine, but during the game, the engine's not there to help them. So actually, while preparing for a tournament, I try to use as minimal engine use as possible. But I also think if you're starting, you also need some opening repertoire, opening ideas. So if you like E4, study some greater repertoire on one E4. I mean, something that you can rely on so you don't just get killed with white or with black.
Now, Wesley, I want to jump now. You have all this talent. What's your first big win? Like, what's your first win where everybody's like, whoa, who's this kid, Wesley So? I'm talking international win.
Yeah, good internationally. Let's see. I first played in the World Youth Under 10, 2003 in Greece, but I was finished 19th. I did very poorly. 2004, I finished, I think, 10th place, so I did slightly better. 2005 World Youth Under 12, I tied for first, actually. So I was rated 22 54. No, I was rated 2005. I was rated maybe 21 65.
And you're 12.
In France, yeah. And Ray Robson was there. Nagy was there.
Amazing.
Ho Yifan, Sanan Sugirov. And who else? So there were a lot. Darius Wirks was there.
A lot of future Grandmasters.
Yeah, so those were my generation.
In the under 12-year-old, that's extraordinary. That's amazing. That means that tournament is a potential sign of things to come in terms of the strong players. So that just sounds like an amazing class that year.
Belfort. Yeah, I remember also in 2003, I think Shakriar's Mami Jerop won the under 18 with the score of 10 out of 11. So we were all admiring him at that stage.
Incredible score, 10 out of 11. That's wild. And so now you have made your mark as a 12-year-old. But you became a grandmaster at quite a young age as well, right?
Yeah, I became a Grandmaster at 14.
Okay, wait a minute. You're a 2100 at 12, and you're a grandmaster at 14. What kind of food were they feeding you in the Philippines that you could make that jump in 2 years?
Yeah, I asked myself the same time because my rating grew phenomenally. Like I can remember even now. So I went from 2165 to 2254, and then from 2254 to 2330, and then 2411, and then 2451, and then 2519.
These are just one tournament after the other?
Yeah, back then the rating was changed every 3 months or every 4 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so every quarter I think. So also the K factor was higher when you're under 2400.
Right.
That helps. But I also started playing in open tournaments, adult tournaments. So I was gaining. The Philippines has a lot of talent. So Philippines, also like India, for example, or China, they have a lot of unknown talents. And these are kids who don't have much support or not very rich, but they have some talent. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
actually, I could have gotten my first GM norm when I was 12 years old, and I was completely crushing my last game against Vladimir Belov. It was like +6, and if I won that, I would have gotten my first GM norm. But I moved the wrong rook, and then I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. That was the toughest game I ever lost.
Oh my goodness. Well, as a 12-year-old, I imagine that's crazy. Zobayan is asking, who was the first GM you ever beat?
Oh, that's what's his name? Ian Rogers from Australia.
Wow. How old were you when you beat Ian?
I think I was turning 13.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, I was 12 and 10 months, I think. Yeah.
You beat Ian Rogers at 12 and 10 months. Guys, if you don't know Ian Rogers, he's a longtime vet from Australia. For you to do that as a sub 13-year-old, whew, Ian must have looked at you funny. It gets harder and harder when you start playing younger and younger players. By the way, Wesley, you're not under 20 anymore. That's been a while.
Time flies, We're getting old.
Time really does fly. What do you feel about the young players now? And I think a lot of people would love to know what your thoughts are on Alireza Firouzja, because he's what, is he still 17 years old? I mean, he just looks like a wonderkin.
Yeah.
Do you see some of yourself in that talent at that age?
Yeah, definitely. He's an exception. I'm not sure who's more talented, me or him, but he's doing really well. He's really incredible, and talents like this come once in a generation. I think we also was one. Alireza has a very bright future in chess, and there's clearly a lot of talent behind it. Probably a lot of hard work also behind it. He's doing very well, and he's got a bright future. And just a few years ago, it's very hard to believe that 17-year-old kid would reach top 10 or top 15 in the world. Like, I think in your generation, no one would ever believe that if you say 17 top 10.
You got to be Bobby Fischer to do stuff like that. That's ridiculous.
I think Bobby wasn't even top 10 when he was 17.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it really is unheard of.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic has hurt Alireza a bit though, and many other youngsters, because they're not able to play ranked tournaments. So that kind of, I feel sorry actually for players like Sam Sepian, Jeffrey Strong, also all those players who are just before college age, because now they have to decide where they want to go to school or play chess. Yeah, hopefully we get back. But Alireza is definitely an exceptional talent. But we'll see what happens. What do you think about him? Do you think he'll?
I think he's a beast.
Yes.
I think he's a gangster, is what I think. I think he's scary, And I don't know, Wesley. Let's just ask you this question because clearly he has his sights on being the number one player in the world, and you got your hands full dealing with the number one player and the top players in the world. Do you see it like you got Magnus ahead of you, and then this young whippersnapper behind you, and it's like the pressure is on to really perform at the highest level?
Yeah, I think everyone's just waiting for Magnus to get old or get bored with chess.
But if he gets bored or old, there's going to be Alireza right there who's looking to knock on the door as well. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, that's true. I think Carlsen is an exception, though, and he's really fighting for us the best chess player who ever lived. So I think he's way up there, like Nadal or Federer. So he's really an exception. I think at this stage, you're right. Alireza is totally a beast, but I'm not sure if he'll reach the same heights as Magnus ever did. But yeah, I mean, I'll just be very happy if Magnus goes out of the way, because then the spot becomes open for everybody. Like without Magnus, Fabiano would have been world champion, for example.
Now, Wesley, Wesley, you're saying this about Magnus, but the fans want to know, and I'm sorry, I just got to ask the question, okay? You beat Magnus in Chess 960 to take the world championship title in Chess 960. You beat him on his birthday. You beat him on Valentine's Day. Now, you apologized for beating him on his birthday after you beat him on Valentine's Day, and we want to know, you didn't even have to remind everybody that you beat him on his birthday. So are you really sorry, or is it one of those sorry, not sorry kind of deals? Are you trolling Magnus by beating him as many times as you've beaten him?
Yeah, I would definitely not want to lose on my birthday. It's happened to me before. And I think just as a common courtesy to everyone, I think no one should play chess ranked on their birthday. No one wants to play chess on their birthday. Just give this guy a day off or move it on a rest day.
I actually remember when I got my final GM norm, in the second round, Greg Shahade beat me on my birthday. And I had drawn the first game, so I lost the second game on my birthday. And I felt like jumping off a cliff. I mean, I'm going to tell you straight up, it was ugly. It was like, what the heck? I'm trying to get my last norm to get the title, and I lose round 2 on my birthday. Thankfully, I spoke to my man, Willie Johnson, and he talked me down off the edge of the precipice, got me straightened out, and then I just started winning all my games. But you're right, the birthday pressure is disgusting.
It's nice for you able to bounce back after a tough loss. I think many people won't. I remember I also beat Hikaru Nakamura on his birthday 4.5 years ago.
Man, you're giving people these zeros for birthday gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no one wants to play chess on birthday. I've never won a game on my birthday.
You've never won a game on your birthday? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well,
yeah, made some draws. Isle of Man, I lost. World Junior. No one wants to play.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Before we jump to the next part of the show, we're going to take a break soon. I do want to say the first time I got to really know who you were completely off my radar, is when you showed up to my tournament, which seems like it's way, way back into before time now, but you came to Millionaire Chess First Edition and took the whole thing and took home a nice fat check of $100,000. Tell me about that. That must have been quite an experience.
Yeah. No one could believe it that you can put 100,000 in one check. No one could. I couldn't believe it when I saw 100,000 in my bank account back then.
It was special. It was definitely a great tournament, and it was a challenge to be able to win it. And you had to beat your good buddy Ray Robson in order to get the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in Webster back then. I was a college student. And as you know, 99% of college students are poor.
Yeah, especially when you got to take a loan out as well. And then you're even more poor, even after you get out of college.
Yeah, definitely. And when we first heard of the Millionaire Chess Tournament, we all knew that it was going to be a big one. Everyone was very excited. We're all very grateful to you, Maurice, and to Emily also for having that tournament. No one has ever had thought such a big idea back then to host all this big my tournament. So when I first heard about tournament, I saw the prices, how big it's going to be. At first, I didn't even want to play.
Really?
Yeah, because I was my birthday was coming, and I was turning 21.
Was it during your birthday?
Not during, but I think
Oh,
my birthday is October 9. I think the tournament finished
all
October.
right. I remember. Yeah, it's like the day after you won. You celebrated your birthday the next day or something. So
When
you,
did it finish?
I don't remember the exact day it finished, but I remember this story about you celebrating after it was over. So it was like a great birthday gift for you.
Oh yeah, actually, your tournament took place from October 9 to October 13,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I don't remember the dates now. I mean, it was years
so
ago.
it had to celebrate my birthday in Las Vegas. So I knew. So that's one of the reason when my 21st birthday, big deal. And also I thought there was going to be a lot more stronger players. I knew the competition was going to be fierce. It's a 7-round Swiss, and then you qualify for the knockout. So yeah, I don't know.
So what made you play? You said you didn't want to play. What made you end up playing?
Was actually thanks to Susan Bogar.
What'd she do? She twisted your arm and said you better play or else you're getting booted out of school?
Yeah, she said this is the first millionaire chess, and the first one, if you win it, everyone's going to remember. So this tournament's really prestigious. We don't know if this tournament's going to happen again. So you just gotta play. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, indeed. You took up $100,000 check. Have you gotten a check bigger than that? How many tournaments have you played where you got a check bigger than $100,000?
Yeah, I've never gotten a check because I've won Grand Chess Tour, but they do bank transfers.
Ah, okay.
Nevertheless, before that, I think my highest ever prize that I won, I don't even remember. Maybe some open with $8,000 or something.
Mm.
Yeah, but not nearly. I mean, I've never won that amount of money in the past. I almost won World Open, but not nearly.
That wouldn't have been even close. Now, I remember that check. I remember us standing with the oversized check and you putting your arm up in the air and cheering. That was definitely a special moment for all of us. Well, yeah, it was tremendous. Well, we'll keep up the conversation, Wesley, but I think folks definitely want to see some chess as well. And I have picked a special game. And that special game we're going to go over, folks. You don't want to miss this because Wesley So played a game that Yasser won called the Immortal Blitz game. And it involved none other, no lesser alike than Garry Kasparov. This game, if you have never seen it, it's a mile a minute. It's a thrill. And Wesley did it at Blitz speed. We're going to go over this game when we come back here on GM Ashley channel. We'll be right back.